Hey, what's going on? Just bringing you a deck profile video here with Ultra Magnus that I've been working on. Majority of the time I was avoiding a lot of deck lists for Ultra Magnus because I kind of just wanted to see if I could figure something out on my own, and the process hasn't been too great for me. When I first started it, I literally just jumbled up a bunch of cards together that I thought would work, and then just reevaluate it, make some changes. Unfortunately, I didn't get too many opportunities to play test it, just due to some personal things that have been going on, but did get to play test a bit last night, and then today there was a small tournament, and I decided to play this, and I went 1 and 2 out of 3 rounds. So it definitely did better than I thought it would, but definitely didn't do as good as I would have hoped. But I just thought I would share the deck profile, one, just to, record it, maybe look back on it later, hopefully get some feedback on it, and see if there's a way to make it better, see what other people are doing. So I'm running Ultra Magnus, of course. I am also running Flame War for the Tough 1, as well as Private Smashdown, because I thought his ability would be pretty handy. So it brings it to about 22 stars. Of course, we're running the Armor, which is a 2-star card, and then I have another 1-star for the total of 25. So we'll go ahead and look into the deck, then we'll go into the sideboard. I'll probably talk about, if I can remember most of it, some of the process. So just kind of wanted to do this while I still had my experience fresh in my head. So gonna start with 3 Supercharge, practically a staple card. You get that Bold 3, which will help Ultra Magnus get the ability off, so pretty good. Press the advantage. We're running 2 Autobots. It's not really going to help Flame War too much, but if I do go up against a Decepticon, she can, lower their defense, so that's fine. But otherwise, pretty handy card. 3 copies of Brainstorm. This card hasn't come up too often in my games, but when it does, it has been very handy. But for, I think, running blue, I think it's pretty much needed, especially with some of the actions in this. Running Press the Advantage and Supercharge, is pretty good. Another staple blue, 3 security checkpoints. It can also be kind of handy just to get rid of some upgrades that the opponent might have. 2 Pep Talks. I'm not certain if I like this card anymore. Most of the time, I just don't utilize it as much as I would for work overtime, so not certain how I really feel about this. 2 Vaporize. I still prefer this over Smelt, and just kind of running 2 right now. Sometimes I did side in a 3rd one, but not too often did I need to do that. 2 Work Overtimes. For draw power, I definitely prefer this over Pep Talk. Especially in an instance where there was one game I was going up against a Shockwave deck, the Major Shockwave, and so it was just kind of destroying my hand. I really didn't have too many options at the time, so if I drew Work Overtime, it was very helpful. I could draw a fresh hand of 4 because I would have nothing in there, so most of the time I found it way more helpful than Pep Talk. 2 Quartermasters. This helps bring back the Private Smashdown after he gets removed after being an upgrade. So very handy card. Probably one of the best cards in Wave 3 right now. 2 Calculated Strikes. I think this is probably my favorite Black Pip card. I do have a 3rd in the sideboard. I did side in a 3rd one, I think like 1 time, and it came in handy. It's probably not the best card, but it's nice to have, I think. 2 Dismantles, more to get rid of, Battle Masters and stuff like that. But this card, I never played it. Never once did I play it. The pips, sure. I guess adding some Pierce is nice, but otherwise it really didn't. It didn't really perform as well as I wanted to. Speaking of other black pip cards, I was also running 2 copies of Repurpose. Never played it. I ended up using Work Overtime or Pep Talk over that. So yeah. So never really came up with these too much. So 3 grenade launchers, pretty much a staple. I was running 2, but I decided to buff it up to 3. I really think if you're gonna run them, you should just go 3. There's no point in running 2. But if you are gonna run copies of 2 Energon Axe, I don't think having a 3rd one is completely necessary. I think one problem is that it has to be on a damaged character, and sometimes that may not always be the case, so Energon Axe isn't always going to be able to be played, so I think running 2 is fine. Now, Laser Cutlass. I love this card. This card is fantastic. I'm only running 2. I have another one in the side. Most of the time I always side it in a 3rd one. It is fantastic. If I can get this on Flame War and Smashdown is great. Pretty much I always go for Smashdown first, as you know, that 2 attack can't really do too much in this kind of mixed deck, so very handy. 2 Enforcement Batons to help get rid of weapons and Battle Masters. It's green pip, so I can pull it whenever you need to. It's +1, so that's kind of handy at times. 1 Mountain Missiles. Mainly playing it for the double orange, because I can't really use Peace Through Tyranny in this deck, since Smashdown and Flame War are both 5 stars each, so this is how I spend my other star. It didn't come up too often, but the +2 was pretty nice. In that game against Shockwave, I had Magnus with Smashdown. He still had his armor, and I put Mountain Missiles on him, and it was fantastic. It was great. So I think Mountain Missiles is a pretty good option to have. 3 Improvised Shields, mainly just using it for the double orange. However, there was a time that I did just use it. I just said, you know, screw it, and I slapped it on the Flame War. You know, it's not the worst thing you could do. So, but mostly using it for the double orange. Ultra Magnus armor, of course, because we're running Ultra Magnus. The armor is fantastic. Sadly, it's an easy target. You know, that's going to be the first thing they're going to want to remove. And once Ultra Magnus loses that armor, he's definitely not as tanky. And yeah, it does kind of bite. This is really the downside, I think, to Ultra Magnus, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree. So when people were asking me, you know, hey, how are you liking him? And I would just kind of shake my head and like, I don't know yet. So, but the armor is what makes him, and when you lose it, it's kind of hard to get it back. And then 3 Matrix of Leaderships. Very rarely did it come up, but the orange and blue pips definitely help with the flips. But when I was able to get it on, that +1 attack and Pierce 1 definitely helps Flame War and Smashdown get more damage in. So, I mean, why not run it? So, in regards to the matches, the first game was against Bugs. That one was pretty brutal. This deck likes to go second, so a lot of the times everybody wanted me to go first, which kind of sucks because all I can do is attack with Smashdown. He doesn't really do much. So, you know, with the Insecticons, with Scrapnel there, obviously he's that first target you want to go after, but he has like 3 defense in alt mode, so I think most of the time I would go after Kickback or Ransack. I think usually Kickback was what I went for. After the first game, which I lost, I won the second round, and then the third match, that one was really, really, really close. It was very tense, but I lost. And then against the Shockwave, he won the first game. And how that went down, he was running so Major Shockwave, Flame War, and Breakdown. So usually Breakdown or Flame War was going to be the first target. Shockwave, if I could, but that 2 armor definitely hurt, so Smashdown usually wasn't able to do much. Actually, against anybody. That first game was incredibly grindy. The second game, I swapped in the Laser Cutlass. That's when I ran 3. I was able to get them onto Flame War and Smashdown, and that just changed the pace tremendously. And the last round was really close. I was able to like top deck supercharge a lot in the last game, and was able to pull the win. And then the last game was Nemesis Prime. It was 4 wide Nemesis Prime with Flame War. Everybody loves Flame War. And Raider Detour and Raider Stormcloud. And that one was really weird. Nemesis Prime is just the bane of my existence. That one was really tough. There was like one time that I was very close to pulling the win, but Ultra Magnus then died, and then it was only Flame War left, and she just couldn't do as much damage. So that was pretty much how that went, and so I'll kind of go into the sideboard just to show what I ran and what I sided out to help with those games. So the third Laser Cutlass, 3 extra paddings, Calculated Strike, Vaporize, Bashing Shield, 2 incoming transmissions, and a 3rd Quartermaster. I always sided these in. Laser Cutlass and the 3 extra paddings always got sided in every single time. Sometimes I sided in the 3rd Vaporize, sometimes I would side in a 3rd Calculated Strike. I think there was one time I put Bashing Shield, and I think I only used it once. So I think I would probably still keep this here. Incoming Transmission, never sided it in, and I never sided in the 3rd Quartermaster. I usually don't like to go past 4 or 5 white pips. Right now I have 4, so I don't think I wanted to put in a 3rd one. Kind of wanted to keep it there. Kind of want to make sure that I had a fairly consistent amount of orange and blue so that I could get the Ultra Magnus ability out. Otherwise, extra padding and that 3rd Laser Cutlass always came in handy. And usually what I sided out, I always sided out the 2 Pep Talks and the 2 Dismantled to make room for those 4. So I think that's probably going to be my main change to the deck, is just remove those completely, have those be in there, and then just find 4 extra cards to replace for the sideboard, and see how we go from there. I don't know how much more I'm going to be playing this deck. I usually don't like to stick to one thing because I only have so many cards that I can pretty much only play like one deck at a time. So there's other things I want to try out. But this is my Ultra Magnus deck. I don't think it's that great. But if you guys are running Ultra Magnus, let me know how he's working out for you. Let me know what else you're running, because I'm curious. I don't have a, I forgot to mention, I don't have a character for the side. I know you're supposed to have one, but I honestly have no idea who to side out. I think one other person who was, I don't think he played Ultra Magnus during the tournament, but he played last night when we were doing some play testing. I didn't get a chance to play him though, but he was running Ultra Magnus. He was using Flame War as well, but instead of Smashdown, he was using Drag Strip, because you could draw a card when you flip the orange and blue. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I don't know if I would play 2 Decepticons, because, you know, press the advantage, you're only going to be able to really use it on Magnus to get the full you know, that full ability or full function of it, really. So I think I would probably leave it as an Autobot. But he suggested Acid Storm, and essentially how that would work as a bold counter. Because I think Acid Storm is 6, so it would probably remove Smashdown, and then the Mountain Missiles. Probably replace Mountain Missiles with something else. Probably put another, like, Calculated Strike or whatever. And pray that the armor doesn't get pulled from Magnus. So you're attacking with Brave with Ultra Magnus. That way, Acid Storm doesn't get attacked, because Acid Storm is paper thin. So, and your opponent can't use Bold at all. So that might be an idea. I don't know. We'll have to see. What would y'all suggest as a character side? Because I have no idea. Anyways, do hope y'all enjoyed the video. Definitely looking forward to what opinions everybody has. So, thank you for watching. Take care.